Hey guys, welcome to the channel. JB here, excited you're with me. Was gonna head to the beach, but we've got a little bit of a storm coming through. We got a tropical storm, which is kind of cool in its own way. It kind of gives you a peaceful feeling. And it, you know, it's just kind of relaxing out here as long as we're not getting the rain and the thunder and the lightning. But as you can see today, I came over here to the park just to do a little Silent Sunday today and talk about some esoteric ancient wisdom as we do on Sundays here on the channel. If you're new here, welcome. We do e-ink reviews, we do all kinds of fun stuff. That's what we do here on the channel, and it's all about the energy. And hopefully you're enjoying it. We talk about all different types of topics. We put a lot of videos up. So I hope you are getting some energy from this. But today, I want to get into patience and talk a little bit about Confucius and one of the statements that he makes on being a little more patient in life. And what's amazing about Confucius is this wisdom is literally from around 500 BC, maybe 400 BC. So this is some ancient esoteric wisdom that we can truly apply today. So what are we talking about, or what did Confucius tell us on patience? Well, let's get into it. So what does Confucius say? Well, Confucius says this: patience. Do not be desirous of having things done quickly. Do not look at small advantages. Desire to have things done quickly prevents them from being done thoroughly. Looking at small advantages prevents great affairs from being accomplished. So that's some deep wisdom there. If you really think about the idea of patience, you know, small advantages, which to me is kind of looking for shortcuts, right? Talking about patience and being a little more thorough in the things that we do. I can tell you, for me, for a fact, I have made a lot of mistakes in my life because I've been focused on instantaneous gratification. So some ideas that we could take from Confucius today is, let's start looking at things more in a longer perspective. Let's avoid the instantaneous gratification and the judgment that comes from that. You know, a lot of people come to me because my success is podcasting. If you're new here, you know, I coach a lot of people, professional athletes to business people looking for more lifestyle, to people building lifestyle businesses, because that's what I do. And when I coach them, sometimes people come and say, hey, JB, I need to create content, or I need to build something so that people can learn more about me. And they'll say, well, you know, you've done podcasting and you've been top 25 in the world with your podcast. What did you do? And I'll say, just, you got to get started. And they'll go get started and they'll do 5 episodes or 10 episodes. And they'll come back and say it didn't work. And I'm like, what do you mean it didn't work? You're just getting started. My first 100 sucked. I've done 4,300 episodes. And even now, after 4,300 episodes, some of them suck. Here on this YouTube channel is a great example of that. I had 1 keyword take off, remarkable 2. Other than that, you know, if I looked at the immediate results, if you've watched my financials and the revenue, I wouldn't be doing this. But I do it because I love it, and I do it because I'm having fun. And I think success in life is doing the things you want to do and really having fun doing it. And for me, meeting people and connecting with them is more important than worrying about the YouTube algorithm. And I could worry about the YouTube algorithm and just stick with e-ink, but I'm not going to do that because I want to meet cool people that like to hear about different things. So being patient, first off, and being careful of instantaneous gratification is point 1. Point 2 is to start thinking longer term. So if you think about like the year 2000, remember year 2000? I mean, it seems like it's forever ago. I mean, I remember in 1988 when I graduated high school, it's like, wow, that was a long time ago. Let's go back to 88, right? Well, here's the deal. In 1988, I thought the year 2000 was going to take forever to come. And now we're here in 2022, which is pretty amazing. I mean, we're getting ready to start 2022. So time is moving. And what I want to ask you is, if you think about 2020 and you remember all that tech stuff, remember, oh my gosh, the world's going to end in 2000, Prince's 1999, remember that song? What could you have done differently the last 20 years? I mean, what could you have done? I mean, how many books could you have written? What could you have done in your education? What businesses could you have started? Just imagine if you had 20 years to do anything. And so that's a different perspective. So when I teach Get It Done Now, which is one of my courses and one of my programs, when we do our December planning, we plan for the year, but we also look at the long term, and we got to give ourselves time. That's the main thing, being patient. And the third thing I want to talk about is that shortcut, or the advantage, he calls it, that, you know, taking those quick advantages. Are there times to do shortcuts? Yes, there are. If you can find a way to do it, and coaching is a great way for that, because the difference between wisdom and experience is making all the mistakes somebody else makes. Wisdom is gaining that wisdom and maybe getting some of those shortcuts or those small advantages. But the truth is, a lot of the times we just got to stick with it. We got to stay in the game. We got to stay in the fight. And that's what I think Confucius is telling us, to be a little more patient. You know, there's a disease, and I look at it from my MBA kind of side of things, that, you know, when I started in business years ago, and I was in aerospace for years and I ran companies, you know, we used to monitor the economics of the company on an annual basis. And then all of a sudden it became a quarterly basis. And then we started making decisions based on that. And then it became a monthly basis. And literally, I think some companies, they literally work on their metrics on a daily basis. And you got to be careful with that, because you're not giving stuff enough time. You know, I think of an old Chinese saying. They say the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago or today. And I think about that oak tree, right? It starts as an acorn, and you put that in the ground. And no matter what you do, like, you could water that acorn, you can give it sun, but it's only going to grow so fast. I don't care how much you scream at it. If you scream at it to grow, why won't you grow? It's not going to make a difference in how fast that grows. That acorn is not going to grow any faster into a tree. So the same thing with life. We got to be a little more patient, a little slower, enjoy this process of life, all the good, the bad. It's all about the experience at the end of the day anyways. And just find some peace. And that's what we're doing here this Sunday with this little casual walk. Thinking about some esoteric wisdom from the year 400 or 500 BC. And it was relevant then, and it's still relevant today. So slow down a little bit and stop judging yourself on immediate results. If you're trying to lose some weight, if you're trying to, you know, change your health or your fitness level, it takes time. If it took 40 years to put the weight on, it's going to take a little time to take the weight off. So don't get discouraged. If you're building a business, stick with it. It takes time, especially some of this social stuff and podcasting and YouTube. It just takes time. It is what it is. Be patient, enjoy the process, and enjoy what you're doing. And finally, be careful with your planning. You know, at least have an annual plan every year. We do that in December with our Get It Done Now process. You know, you want to plan, you want to have some structure, you want to have that mission, those values and goals, but you also want to have that long-term vision of understanding what can you do in 10 years, what can you do in 20 years. And I think getting you thinking about that can totally change the way you approach your life, and you can change the way you think day to day. And that's really what it's about. So as always, thanks for watching. I love you. You know, I'm loving this channel. I'm loving meeting so many cool people, doing new things like this, and, you know, taking you into where I live and some of my peace. I love this fountain back here. We can kind of relax and enjoy that a little bit today. We got another one over here. Now this is right down from my house. And, you know, I love bringing you into my world a little bit. I think there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of different things. And I think as I've had success over the years, being authentic is what's so important to me. And the tools that are coming out, by the way, I'm shooting on the Pocket 2 camera. It might not be the best video quality, but it allows me to walk and be stable and just have a great conversation. And I'm enjoying this process, meeting so many cool people. So thank you for watching. And we got more videos coming this week, as always, here on the channel. Different things. We're doing it wrong. They would yell at me, "You're not niching down. You're not doing YouTube right." But you know what? I don't care. I'm meeting cool people and having fun. And to me, that's really what it's about. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being a part of this. And we'll see you in the next video.